Hello, welcome in everybody. Welcome to this reading today. Really nice sunny day today as well in Brisbane. But this reading, this is going to be a message from the Earth Angels. So you could see this is a collective of Earth Angels. And if you want to know what an Earth Angel is, there's probably a lot online, but basically it is someone who either feels very connected to the angelic realm or like an angelic soul that is incarnated at this time, generally to help bring in the new earth, I guess you could say. However, they may have all sorts of different roles to play, right? As do everybody here that is incarnate. So I wanted to take it from the Earth Angels rather than the higher kind of like realm, ones that are here, ones that are going through exactly what everyone's going through, right? They're experiencing reality in different ways, however, still in the same collective group of Earth, let's say. So, going to pick some cards. So whether you identify as an Earth Angel or not, it's not really important. This is just a message from that collective group. Okay. Also got some selenite here. Just wanted to cleanse today. Little cleansy cleanse. It's popping up, so I thought I'd bring the selenite wand in for this reading. I'll just leave it up here so you can pick your piles and see which one calls to you. Yeah, this one definitely wants to come through. Well, okay. All right, so these will be, try to get them out of the light. These will be the three piles. Pick whichever one calls to you, of course. But pile number 1, you have Amber. This has a message of harmony, home protection, calm, and attracts love. For pile 2, you have Angelite with angel communication, clairvoyance, alignment, and dream insight. Okay, pile number 3, you have fire with passion, creation, travel, and courage. All right, so these will be the 3 piles for you today. Just so you know, not that you can hear, I've kind of muted the music in the background, but I'm listening to a sound bath and I'm kind of like channeling this music into the reading. It just says it's called Parasympathetic Nervous System Healing Frequency Music. The creator on YouTube is called Irene Athanasio. I think that's how you spell it, pronounce it. It looks like a Greek surname. So anyway, hopefully that helps with picking your piles, but yeah, I'll leave you to it to select which one's calling to you. In the description below, you can jump straight to the video. So I'll see you in your reading. Hello, welcome to your reading pile number 1. So you've chosen the lovely Amber with harmony, home protection, calm, and attracts love. Something's just popped up in my head, the piles now that we've chosen. Amber's not really a crystal, right? It's from the tree. It's like the sap, basically. The middle card was the Angelite, which is a crystal. And then the last one was an element, which is fire. So there's kind of very distinct messages coming through. It's just popped up in my head. So I don't know if you needed to hear that, but it's just very interesting, I guess. But this feels like the chill vibe pile. And when I say that, maybe your life isn't chill, right? But it's about the desire to get into balance, harmony, and just like peace, basically. That's how it felt. Straight away when this one was pulled, I was like, ah, yes, this is the chill vibe cards pile compared to probably some of the others. We'll see what actually comes through, right? I can kind of forecast what's going to come through and something completely different may come through. But that was the feeling straight away. So we've got some lovely cards coming through. I like this one. I haven't used this deck in a while, especially for YouTube. And this is the Blue Angel Oracle. So So we'll have a look. Okay. I might just pull the tarot cards last as always and just bring up a whole bunch of oracle. I'm not going to turn them over straight away because I start reading them immediately and I want to get them all out at least before we start talking. But I have a piece of amber that I got from New Zealand long time ago. I think we had it in our house since I was a child. And yeah, it's really beautiful, right? It's like, it really helps with, it's almost like, I don't know how you word it, but you come home and you're like, you take that sigh of relief that you're home, that you're in your comfort environment, you don't have to be the boss or the worker or, you know, the teacher or whatever, and you can just relax. That's kind of like the vibe of amber. It's that feeling of comfort where you don't have to be anything specific at this moment, right? No one needs anything from you, and you don't need anything exactly. You're just safe, right? Just secure, safe, and feeling good. Okay. Okay, this one from here. I think we're going to get more oracle cards, but it looks like this is it. Grab a couple of these. So this is your message. I don't even know if I said, but this is a message from the Earth Angel. Maybe it's just from a few Earth Angels, right? Not every single one, but you could take it as like a collective agreed message from those that are incarnated as angelic. And that doesn't mean that their lives are purely to save people or help people, right? This is, they could have many different incarnated purposes and tasks to do. So there's no, it's kind of like saying, oh, all humans are greedy, right? And just want this. It's like, well, that's not exactly true. There's a whole bunch of different type of humans and a whole bunch of different type of angels. So just going to get like the most important reading or message for you today from that particular group. Okay. So grab these in a moment. We'll have a look at the rest of your cards. So you have Eternity. This is really nice. This might upset some people, but this is actually really nice. It's just saying you don't have to do everything in this one incarnation. This one isn't like the pinnacle of what you can do. You can't get everything done in one lifetime. So it's like your soul is eternal. You have an absolute unlimited amount of time to get whatever learnings you want done, whatever kind of scenarios you want to play out in the human world and other planets, you know, wherever you incarnate. Be kinder to yourself and don't be so harsh on yourself. Because if you're heavy on yourself, you kind of create a inner sanctuary and even your home as a place of stress, right? And it doesn't have to be. It's an interesting one. Really nice too, 44. I mean, we're talking to angels, right? They're going to come through with all the angel numbers and stuff like that. But I love that. That's really nice. Eternity. Got so much time. Be kind to yourself. Enjoy life as well. Especially if you are Earth Angel and you're thinking, well, I need to do this. I must get this done. I have to do this. Like, just chill. Take a breath. You don't have to do all the things out there that you feel you must do, right? You'll get what you need done in the time that you get it done, and there's no rush, basically. You also have Rick BL. This is Compassion. Oh, look, number 11. You really did pick the real. The Angelite might have popped up, but you picked the real angel reading. Anyway, it doesn't mean like the better one or anything. It just means like this is definitely probably a majority of the actual Earth Angel people pile. But Rick Biel talks about compassion, and it's like I said here, like whatever planet you've been on, you might have some incarnations in a particular planet that is playing out here as well, or like you might have been incarnated on a particular planet, still angelic, right? Just because you go off to a different planet doesn't change soul or anything like that. But you learn and you quantum entangle, I guess, with the planet and its people, and you learn stuff. So you might even identify as like this from this planet, this planet, this planet, this planet, this world, this star system, whatever, you know, might have multiple star seeds, multiple kind of like connections. And they're all just labels, right? They might help us identify who we are, but we're beyond more than just like a label or a distinct place or anything. The reason why I'm saying that is because this one's coming through and it's generally talking about compassion, being kind to yourself, being kind to others, not judging, not trying to transform or control how other people see you or how other people act, because you could be the kindest, loving, nicest person and there still could be a horrible person that doesn't like you and thinks you're just doing it for this, that, or the other. And that's fine, right? That's their opinion. What is your opinion of you? So instead of getting entangled with that kind of energy, just be really kind to yourself. Know that, okay, there are certain people in my life that are challenging or difficult or like that I have to connect with in some way, but I don't have to give all myself away. I don't have to transform who I am at a soul level, especially. But even as like this human incarnate right now, we're all humans if you're watching this, unless you're watching this off planet or something, right? But we're all human and we're all just doing our very best with what we've got and what we have been given. So let's be a lot more kinder to each other. So this goes both ways, external, internal, kind to myself, kind to others. You also have delight, which is really interesting. It's kind of interesting because it's almost like, I don't know if this is you exactly, but it's almost like, let's just say this is a scenario where this person is who's getting the reading. It's like someone who's really caring, really compassionate, really nice, and they feel like they have to be that for other people. Whereas I feel like the bigger learning that you give to others is by completely being your own self, doing the role, the jobs that you can do. It's kind of like, instead of me teaching someone how to go out and get a job, like, you know, take this with a grain of salt, but like instead of me going out telling people how to get a job, I just go out, get a job, tell them what I do and what I've done and, you know, do all the stuff. And it's like that energy of like going out, doing all the stuff and hustling, let's say, really does inspire others around me to do the same. Doesn't mean I'm trying to convince them. That's not my intention. I'm just being me. I'm just doing exactly what I need to do. And other people are benefiting from whatever energy they take from it, or like, you know, that kind of like inspiration energy. It's kind of like when you go, people who painted a painting, right? You might be inspired by that, but they didn't paint that for you. You weren't even thought of in the world at that time. This was like 500 years ago, right? They just did that because they really wanted to do it. If you try to create something that's like very specific and trying to say something, then you're missing the point. The energy has to come through naturally. And that's what Delight's kind of coming through with, which is interesting. It's a sparrow because sparrows are very feisty, right? Because they're small, so they have to be a little bit more robust, I guess. And they can't just let other birds kind of like push them around because they're small. So even with that kind of energy, it's not like you have to be feisty, you just have to be you. This is basically it. Your incarnation or some of your purpose here is not to try to be something, it's just to be. That's it. You've got sadness here too, with compassion. Really interesting. This is why it felt like this is the, you know, incarnated angelic souls, or has spent a lot of time, or like aspires to be. I don't know how that all works, right? But let's just say that's the vibe of it. They've gone through the challenges, and you learn a lot through more of the challenges than you do of the happy times, right? We all want the the most smoothest, easiest life for us and our children, or the people around us, or the people we love and care for, right? However, we can't, what happens with that is, like, let's say it's the child and you're a helicopter parent and you like don't allow them to play on here because they could fall, right? Or don't allow them to run here. So it kind of restricts. And like the intention might be to keep them safe, right? But it almost stops them from growth. So yeah, anyway, I don't think anyone's doing that, but that vibe of, well, I want everything to be very smooth for this person, but you kind of like don't learn as much from all that. You want it to be safe enough so they don't get hurt. But if they're not going to learn through observation, that kind of thing, they'll learn through practice. Like, unless you find someone that you date and then you're in a relationship for the rest of your life, that might be the ideal, but we learn so much more from our exes. We learn so much more about ourselves from our relationships, right, as well. So that's really where it's from. It's like turning that sadness into inspiration and passion. Which I feel like that's really a good thing here. I don't know if this is just for some people, it's like hobby. Get into your hobby, transmute that energy into something useful, workable, or at least if you don't want to do it in like a creative way, this one's just coming through. Let's channel this into a way that I learn from. I don't just sit with this energy and ruminate with this energy and wish that people would take me more seriously, or wish that people would just be like this. People are going to be how they're going to be. If someone says, oh, I look terrible or look tired or something like that, but I don't feel it or feel like I look like it, then that's on them, right? That's their thing. Why, like, what's going on in their life to think that they need to say that? Or like, maybe that's just exactly what they see, but I don't feel it. So I don't have to take on that vision of looking tired or old or whatever. If you ask a child, right, they're going to say someone who's like 14 or something is old. They're just going to say anyone's old, right, basically. And it's like, it's up to you whether you take that on as like truth, or if you take that on as just like something that they don't either understand or whatever. It's not for really you to dissect and figure out. It's for them to reflect on as to why they're saying that. So it's an interesting one with sadness coming through. Self-love, yeah, this is what the whole reading's really about. It's like looking after yourself, focusing on self, especially if you're like, even if you're a parent and that kind of thing, look after yourself. That doesn't mean neglect, right, the children. It's not like, not everything is either black or white or like polar opposite, on, off. We're not light switches. It's just like with artistry, it doesn't mean you neglect the rest of your life and just go paint. This is about introducing small practices, little things that really help you feel safe and secure in your sanctuary. Like I said, your body, your inner temple, and also your external world. So yeah, do those little things, no matter what they are. If you eat something that is naughty or whatever, don't see it as naughty. Don't see it as like cheating or whatever, like cheating on your diet or whatever like that. Have a mindset of like, I feel like this because I deserve it, right? I know that this is something that I eat in moderation, and so I'm going to eat it moderately, right? I'm going to have a piece of this or whatever and not feel bad about it, because there's no purpose to that. It's food, just this one thing, and then all these other things. If I spend 5 minutes making myself feel good by, I don't know, putting on some moisturizer and taking care of my hair or whatever, whatever this is, doesn't mean that I'm a bad parent for not just leaving myself aside and rushing off to do whatever, like, whatever it is. You're allowed to have a variety in this life, and that's a huge point of what Earth is about. It's giving you a variety, especially if you've come from planets or like even the angelic realm, where it's like, you've been assigned a particular role. On Earth, you're not really assigned anything unless you assign it or attach to that truth. If someone says you're an artist and you don't feel like it, then you don't have to attach to it. That might be something to look at and you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm actually really good at artwork, and then follow that path. But yeah, people's opinions are just more of ideas that they see, and regardless of their intention, it's up to you whether you decide to take that as your truth or not. Okay, let's get some tarot cards. I'm going to read these all upright. These are kind of tarot, kind of oracle. They're kind of a bit of a mix. They're really cool. This is the, what is it called? The Unveiling the Golden Age. This is by an Australian lady as well. Okay. So you've got the Hermit card. Contemplative solitude. Really, really, really nice for this reading. You're not going within to do anything other than check in with yourself, right? Like to understand how you work and what's important to you and who you are, basically. Okay. Look at that. This is the 13th card, which is death, but it's called the rebirth card, and I feel like that's more of what it's about, right? The death card is about letting go. This card is like the letting go because the new can arise from the old. So you've got a lot of time to go within and kind of like, I don't want to say sort out your mind, right? It's not sorting it out. It's more like going within contemplatively thinking and feeling what is my purpose? Why am I here? Why do I hold so dearly what other people think of me? You might like to brush that off as like, oh, it's because I'm really loving, compassionate person. I'll just leave it as that. And then continue like that, right? And it's like, well, where do I feel that love and compassion and support for others within myself as well? Or vice versa, if you're focusing inwardly a lot, then kind of finding a balance between support and self-love, right? This the whole balance. But yeah, very strong cards coming through straight away. I love this with her though, because she's like, it's almost like chakras, right? And she's like connecting to the earth, but it's so different to how it's traditionally shown with like, you know, particular points and colors and things. This is like very much she's just lying down on the grass and connecting with earth without thinking about connecting with earth. This is it's almost like getting into automation, but it's like natural. It's not automatic. It's not like a machine. It's more like a plant growing in the ground is natural, right? Instead of shoving a stick in the ground and sellotaping a leaf to it. Like, you know, it's like still grounding, but it's like it's artificial. This is getting into the flow of naturalness. Natural beauty, natural self-care, natural you. Sound like a makeup ad or something. But anyway, like, you know, that kind of energy. Honoring who you are, honoring your emotions, not criticizing, judging who you are, taking on any criticisms, judgments from others, not feeling like you have to be something for others. People need to be their own thing as well, right? All of us as people are here to help and support each other and help and support ourselves, but don't have to be anything specifically for someone is mainly the message. And don't cherry pick it into like, oh, what about if you have a baby? Obviously you have to look after the baby, right? But this is talking about you don't have to be like the child parent, right? You know what I mean? Like when some parents get a little bit wild and you feel like you have to be the parent for them, or have been since maybe you were a child, right? You don't actually, that's not your role if you don't want it to be. People need to live their own lives, and if they keep choosing things where they keep you stuck, that's up to you what you do with that. But notice it, recognize it for what it is. No amount of complaining or like gossiping or like talking to friends or complaining about it's going to really change anything. The only thing that's going to change is a conversation or an action from you, basically. Okay. You've got the 5 of Earth Guardians. It's right next to Self-Love as well. Earth Guardians with this one, Snow. Snow is slow, right? It's almost stopped. in a sense, like everything has slowed down. I don't really live anywhere where it snows. Here it gets slightly cold, right? But I mean, it's cold for us, but you know what I mean. There's no frost, there's no snow. So 5 Earth Guardians next to self-care. It's really showing don't reject any part of yourself, right? All parts of yourself are perfect in the way that they are. And so be kind to yourself. Like, just honestly be very kind to yourself. Take the small things that really, really lift you up. And if people resonate around you in that way, then perfect. If they don't, then it's time to look elsewhere, right? Or not to entangle with them as deeply as they want to entangle with you, because they could be just draining your energy. Not getting into like purposefully like psychic vampire, right? Or energy vampire. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just like some people are draining and they're not vampires or purposely trying to be energy suckers. They just are because they're not dealing with their shit. And so it's kind of like you shake up a Coke or whatever and it's like starts spurting everywhere. It's not like the Coke's trying to get you, but you're still getting wet and sticky, right? So, you know, minimize your time with the wild childs of the world. If you want to. If you can't and don't want to, then don't. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just letting you, hopefully leading you to a door where you can open and look through and then recognize what's happening, so then you can make decisions that are for your highest good. Okay, last card. A lot of shuffling while I'm chit-chatting. Okay, and you've got the 9 of light codes, persistent, present. Look, things will improve, things will get better. It's kind of like you're at a point where you have an opportunity to, like, I'm talking just this section of the reading now. There were many sections, so, you know, take what resonates along this journey, but we're getting to the end now. And the persistent presence is like, you're here, you're allowed to be here, you're valuable here, right? But no matter how much an angel or like anyone can say, or human, you know, whatever, can say that to you, you have to believe it within yourself. You have an opportunity to cast aside something that is no longer resonating. When I say cast aside, it's not like you grab a person and throw them, right? This has really just been like, okay, I can't go into deep conversations with this person. It just goes into nowhere. We either have like a very limited conversation about certain things that's very surface level. If I don't even want to waste my time with that, then we need to go in separate ways, or we need to like ghost each other, basically, right? If you keep resonating quite highly anyway, you'll start to trigger them too many times that they will start to get annoyed, even if you're not even doing anything. That's just kind of seems to be how it works. People get very triggered by very higher kind of like vibrating people. That doesn't mean everyone that triggers is. Some people are just assholes, right? So, you know, I'm not talking about that. But if people are getting triggered by you just living your life and being you, that's not impacting them in any way, that's on them. Basically what I'm saying. But, you know, keep going. You're learning the power of your own heart and soul and mind. And it's not in the way you thought it was. You thought you had to be something, but you just have to be you. You don't have to be anything other than that. I know it's very cliche and cheesy, but I don't care. That's how it's coming through. Remember, these are earth angels, but they're also fucking humans. So it's like they're still going to give it to you straight, I guess, in a loving and compassionate way. But sometimes that's exactly what needs to happen. Friendships need to break up because they no longer serve either party, or it's one-sided, or, you know, something in that kind of way. But yeah, ultimately look after yourself, take care of yourself, be compassionate to yourself, honor your feelings and emotions. You're not too emotional, you're not ditzy or silly or whatever. And if anyone says that to you, it's up to you to decide whether you feel that or not. You don't have to defend yourself to this person. It's just like, okay, you know, that's what you feel. You can just say, I don't feel that, but yeah, that's it. That doesn't resonate with me. And leave it at that. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. No one owns you, right? basically. It reminds me of like a story, but I won't get too much into it. But basically, cutting it very short, it was like a person was calling and they wanted access to their wives' accounts, right? And I was like, no, and they were like, well, we're married. And I was like, that doesn't mean you, like, it was probably down the track and I was definitely an ego by then, but I was like, you don't own her. You know what I mean? That's literally what I was saying, which probably was not the right thing to say, because I went to a complaint and the boss talked to me and I was like, I don't care. Like, I still own up to what I said, and I didn't get any repercussions. But yeah, anyway. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, obviously put them into chat. If this resonated with you, what part of it resonates with you? Don't have to tell me. Tell yourself. Listen to your own good energy, because you're perfectly well based to live a peaceful, compassionate, healthy life from here onwards, right? This is a great place right now for you, even if it doesn't feel like things have worked out. It's not about the external things. It's how do I feel about me? How do I feel about the world? How do I feel about people around me? And where am I focusing too much on and not focusing enough on? And that will give you exactly what you need to do and how to bring in good, balanced, peaceful life from here onwards. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, Pile 1. Thank you, thank you. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading, pile number 2. So, angelic reading, right? Earth Angel collective message, or a message for Earth Angels, if you identify that way. You chose an Angelite. This one's an interesting one because, well, we're doing an angelic kind of reading from Earth Angel collective, and you've chosen Angelite, so kind of very on the nose, right? I think this is going to touch into, I don't know, it's kind of like it's going to touch into the higher realms more so than the earthly, which is kind of interesting, but it's going to touch into ego as well. So not just the body, but the ego mindset, which is interesting. I don't know how that's going to play out, but I guess we'll have a look at the reading. It says here, angel communication, clairvoyance, alignment, and dream insight. So we're going to see what your message is. But yeah, very on the nose with that card. So we'll get you some oracle cards. I think we're going to flip them one at a time as they come through. Okay. Yeah, you've got enlightenment. Very nice. Might even be working with some angelic guides, right? Angels, ascended masters, something like that. That might be part of your spiritual practice. And yeah, you've come here to kind of like support or upgrade, right? The planet, that kind of thing. Bring in your own unique flavor to help your family or people around you, or overcome some kind of adversity or challenge in this lifetime, which helps others. So it's interesting because enlightenment isn't so much what you do externally, it's what you feel internally, and that will guide you into whatever it is externally. Like, that's kind of how it's coming through. So interesting. Got the abundance mandala. You also have Lightship Earth, which is very cool. This abundance mandala, it's not like the stereotypical one that would be like, I've come here to get something, right? You're literally opening up a portal, I guess, for others to follow by example here. It's like monkey see, monkey do, pretty much, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I didn't think this was possible. This person's gone from here to over here, and I didn't feel like that was possible. And this could be just like the mentality in your family, right? Like even for me, it's kind of picking up on some stuff. It's kind of like, oh, I had no idea I couldn't move out of this town. I thought I was this town because this town was me, and I identified so heavily with like this specific house, this specific marriage, this relationship, this friendship, this job, this whatever. I can't see myself doing anything outside of that. And that could have been you, or it could have even been just like family, ancestors, and you've come here to show that like it's legitimately limitless. It's like lighting up the corner, a pocket of space in a corner of the world, right? So instead of feeling like, oh, I need to like fix everyone in the world, ain't gonna happen, right? And there's no one that really needs fixing or can be. Everyone helps and helps themselves. You might be just here to guide them in a particular direction. So that could be where the ego is coming through, and especially if it's ego and I can help you or I can save you, right? Let's just say that's a mentality that needs to be kind of dropped. You do it by example and people watching, and you supporting people when you're invited to, not inviting yourself into a space that you're not welcome. When I mean that by unsolicited opinions, those kind of things. Just be mindful of it, because then you start to take on the ego of like holier than thou type thing, which I don't believe you want to do, so don't do it. Yeah, you've got the twin Irving, the alpha and the omega, this kind of connection. It's interesting because these two kind of feel like very, they've got the Ma'at thing going on here with the heart as being lighter than the feather, right? Which is like a very underworld Egyptian type belief with Ma'at. You go down there, she's like, yo, there's some scales, like we'll put your heart here. If it's heavier, you go this way. If it's lighter, you go this way, which is kind of like an old school way of saying if you're a good person or a bad person, which I don't really feel is relevant in this day and age. However, whatever you believe in. But anyway, so it's got like this balancing energy here with these twins. It's also got justice, right? This is very like law, like laying down the law. So it's an interesting one. It does feel like, some of you, that's like whoever's found this, some of you might be on a path of like a political path in a way, and people might think, oh, that's not good, this, that, or the other. But if your intentions are here to overturn and change things for the betterment of others, then that could be really great. But even just doing it in your own house, right, instead of letting things be kind of like very like this person's a male, so therefore they're the masculine and they only do the masculine things. These people are female, they only do the feminine things. It's finding a balance between all sorts of different opposites, or like attractors and detractors in your life. I want to read that one, and I will. I just will get another card before I do that. I've also got Shamuel, however you want to pronounce it. I think in Hebrew, the way it's written is can't remember how to pronounce it, but it's like a very sharp kind of like throaty k sound. So anyway, I've got Camuel with this heart. This is like really just saying like you are exactly what you are, right? You are here. Sometimes people might find you like rude or abrasive or something like that. I'm not too sure. It's just like whatever it is, there's something to learn and grow from that. There's a purpose and a reason why either people are seeing it or it's coming out in that way. And it might be good to reflect on it. Maybe it's just their own issue, right? They might find you triggering because you're dynamic and doing other things, and it could be jealousy. But it also could be like you're putting yourself in a place where people don't want you there, right? Or you're not invited or needed there. So don't waste your good energy on people that don't want it, basically. Doesn't mean they're bad or you're bad. It's just like, don't go to places you're not invited. I don't know why I need to keep saying that, but it's just how it keeps coming through. Stop putting yourself in those positions. You've got infinite amount of like energy and love and support from above, right? So channel that into whatever way that you see fit, into your family, into your life, that kind of thing. You can't push someone to talk about certain things, but that doesn't mean that you need to just sit around and not talk, right? You don't need, if like people aren't going to resonate or like vibe at your vibe, you don't have to sit there wait for them either. You're not, just go do you, basically. It's coming across probably a little bit harsher than I meant to, but it's a nice message, and it's like a real message. Yeah, this is truth. So I'm going to read this, the twins. It says here, ask us to bring you clarity when truth evades you. We can help you discern the right choices when making an important decision, or when you are unsure of the highest course of action to take. With our help, anything remaining hidden will soon come swiftly into the light. Which is perfect, because this is the whole message I feel here is trying to get you to basically just be you, put it into the light. Anything shadowy, why do you feel sometimes you might need to get people to trust you, believe you, understand you? What's that about? Why do you need that? Why do people need to believe you? It is nice when people do, but no matter what, even if people say you're horrible, let's say you were horrible, you're still loved, right? By your guides, your ancestors. And do you feel that's true if you are horrible? If not, then it doesn't matter what they say, right? Because you're not resonating with that. Just because someone fires something at you like that, like language-wise, obviously, doesn't mean you have to, it doesn't have to stick to you. You can fling it back, which most people do as humans, right? We fight back, or justify how good we are, or whatever. If someone said we're bad, we justify how good we are. We don't have to do that. You're just here to do your mission. Clearly, you have a pretty clear mission on here, this light ship Earth. I might even read that. Anywho, let's go to Samuel. This is love and relationships. Yeah, it definitely does feel like the friendships, the relationships, the parent friendships, all this kind of stuff, right? There's a lot coming through. But this one just says, open your heart and let yourself be cherished. Always remember that you are loved, for you are made of love. That's basically that's the truth, right? You are this energy. You don't need to explain, don't need to ask for permission. You already are this. You have it all within you. And if it's already truth, then you don't have to find someone that's going to just believe you, because you're probably not going to enjoy that road. So really interesting. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but this is how the message is coming through. And when it's coming through from like earth angels, right, these are ones here walking around doing their thing. They're going to give you the tea. They're going to give it to you as in a human way, but also, from their soul level is going to speak through this message as well, which is a nice balance. It's a nice balance. Okay. So pile 2. I like this. Don't get too caught up in the drama. Don't get too caught up in the human drama. Even as a human, right, we get caught up in the drama. You're not a victim of circumstance. You are pure and whole, regardless of what you think or other people think, right? So entrapment coming through. Don't get trapped into being like a particular thing for someone or whatever. It's interesting here too, 3-5-3-4. It kind of feels like that descending energy, right? Going down. It's like you get up and then someone says something and you get pulled down, and then someone else does something and then you see drama over there, and then you watch the news, right? And you keep getting pulled down and down and down until you get to a point and then you pull yourself back up. You don't have to go through this seesaw motion. It's not your purpose. It's really not your purpose. It's your choice, but it's not your purpose. How teachable are you is how open are you? how open are you to even this reading? You might have loved and kind of been seduced by the start of this reading with like the abundance mandala, the enlightenment card, like helping heal, growing yourself, all that kind of stuff. That's absolutely true. But growth and success and like love and light doesn't come from the love and light only. It comes from the ups and downs, the learning. And so if we already feel like we've reached a pinnacle, then we can be almost unteachable, right? Because we're like, oh, I'm the master of this. I don't need to know anything else. But the world keeps changing and growing. So 10 years ago, you might have been the master at, I don't know, the skill of truth, let's say, whatever that means. But now it's gotten to a point where the world's kind of shifted and changed. And if you haven't learnt over the time from people that are coming through, because the younger generations especially are already coming pre-programmed. I was thinking about this yesterday and I'll just share it. I don't know if it's true, but it's just what I was thinking. It's kind of like, you know, there was the boomer generation, they're very set in their ways, right? They kind of feel like they had broken a pattern from before that, where, I don't know, it felt like the silent ones, or the ones even before them, were kind of the ones where regiments and very strictness was absolutely key, right? You had to, if you were this kind of person, you were like that. And the boomers kind of feel like they broke through some of that. They were still very kind of like methodical, right? And very, I'm like this, you're like this kind of thing. But I feel like they broke out of the caste system, like higher class, upper class, that kind of things. Like they kind of broke through that. And then we have the Gen X's and then the millennials. And Gen X is kind of like the bridge between the past, I guess, the old ways, let's say, and the new. And this is not talking about any of the science and technology, because that's kind of advanced everything kind of crazy anyway. But you know, they're kind of like the bridge between the boomers and the millennials. And then the millennials kind of feel like they came through with like kind of opening up to more of the emotions and stuff like that. This is just like how it was kind of flowing in my mind. I don't feel like this is the soul, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, right? But it's just like some kind of like food thought that my mind was kind of like having. And then the Gen Zs kind of feel like the bridge between millennial and whatever the alpha are going to be. And I feel like that's going to be an interesting whatever that kind of turns out. But the Gen Z is kind of coming through with new information as well. And it's just like every generation, regardless of like time, comes through with new information. It's like whether the older generations accept it or agree with it or whatever, it changes anyway. So while I'm making this way longer than I wanted it to, be open. Like, how open is your heart as well next to Sham? You know, what are you focusing in on? What are you blinded to that you don't see within yourself and within your environment and your relationships and your friendships? This is not to judge you. None of these are. This is just to get you to start thinking of these things a little bit more openly, I feel. Okay. Yeah, it's coming back with the alignment part of this Angelite. It's like, this is all to help you be the best version of you, right? Or the best version isn't like a goal, it's a now thing. It's a decision that you make today. And every second, let's say, you make small incremental decisions to improve your life and the people around you, basically. When invited, obviously. But even you just being you kind of like feels like the right vibe. Which I'll always agree with anyway. I don't care too much about what other people think, right? Or try not to. But if there's learning in what other people are saying, then maybe I need to look at it. If I look at it and still feel like that doesn't still resonate, then I don't have to accept it. If there's something there which I don't resonate with, but it's teaching me or it's an opportunity to learn from that message, then I can take that and still reject the premise of me being branded a good or bad person, right? Oh, look at this cute little star nursery. I got the star nursery with the Ace of Portals. I don't know, it just looks cute. Ace of Portals is a brethren, I guess, to the brotherhood. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's like a brethren to the Ace of Cups in traditional tarot. But I like this. It's like you can make anything of this, of what's going on. You can kind of transform their reality and help people shift into whatever energy. Remind them of their own power. You're not their power source, right? They're their own power source. They just forgot it. People just forgot their own power. They don't need to follow a particular religion or a particular government type, I don't know, voting style or whatever, you know, like a traditional thing. They can, but that's not where they should be focusing on, right? It's like people should be focusing on their own power, remembering their own power. And maybe that's a path that they go through. They go through that big kind of wild change and swings and roundabouts. But yeah, it's a tough one because like it can kind of get like your energy in a sense, or who is watching this is like, yeah, but I could really, really help them. And it's like, absolutely you can. But you can't if it's at the cost of their free will, right? If they're not ready for it, they're not ready for it. And if they never are ready for it, that's not your responsibility. Try not to feed so much energy into wishing someone would think or feel differently. Because you don't want to get stuck and trapped here as well. Like this entrapment is a felt outwardly thing, but it's really an inwardly mind choice. Okay. 7 of Earth Guardians. Yeah, I guess near the end it's like put energy and effort into what's going to bring you love and joy. Like really do connect with your higher realms, right? They're talking about the stars, which is way up there in the cosmos, and then we've got the sky, which is obviously up there too, and you've got these little birds flying around. They probably wouldn't be that far in the sky, but anyway. In this image they are, and it shows like transformation as well. The 7 of Earth Guardians is like, you're here to shine a light on your own self and on the people around you when they ask for it, or when you know you're being pushed to give advice. There's certain things that I feel about certain people, even in my own friend groups, right? But if they're not asking for it, asking for information on this, or asking for like a deep kind of like, what do you think about this? You know, that kind of thing. And sometimes they do, and I'll give them exactly what I feel. And I always try to shift my heart center into a place of providing a message that's purely from the heart, not from judgment or criticism or sass, right? The sass will come through with like silly things, or when it's like playtime or fun. Not so much when we want to get the truth, heart of the matter. And, you know, if they take any of that and don't like it, then you can offer explanation if they want that. If not, then it is what it is, right? As long as your intention is there to support and help. But that's where you plant your seeds. This is like where you find the seeds, plant the seeds. You nurture the things that are going to be really helpful to yourself and those around you. Okay. I hope this really helped. I know it's kind of like a bit of a long-winded one. But overall, you're here to, you know, do things with a kind heart. Don't worry about like the idea of the future or judgment. Make your peace and happiness or balance within yourself every day. Listen to your guidance, because even if, like, let's say you are an earth angel, right? That doesn't mean you don't have angelic guides. It's not like, oh, I'm already an angel, so I don't need that. You're also 100% a human, right? You're in a human body. Your soul might be from like wherever it is, but while you're here and in this incarnation, you're part of the human collective. So, you know, do what you will, because by doing that, you actually really rise above. You get into a place where you start to see the benefit of who you are without the judgment or the need for approval from external sources. Start to see your own heart, and you become more open and playful in this planet, which is exactly where you'd want to be. And if you wanted like a love reading, there's definitely something here with Samuel and the Ace of Portals, right? Opening your heart up. How teachable are you? How open are you to find this divine balance in love? Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today, pile number 2. Hopefully you've enjoyed, and if you have, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello, welcome to your reading pile number 3. So, interesting cards coming through today, right? We had a piece of amber, which is not really a crystal, but it's like sap. Then we have the Angelite, definitely a rock in the earth. And then we have an element. So we've got like something biological, or something that's created from something biological, right? Something's created from pressure and earth. And then we've got the fire, which is the element of fire. So really interesting cards coming through, very different. There were some similar messages in the first 2 piles, but I feel like yours is going to be really interesting because it feels like cleansing from here. This feels like almost like holy fire, which is, you know, I mean, look, from how I see it, holy fire only clears out negative energy. So if your intention is pure, right, to heal yourself, help others, etc., then you're not going to get burnt. It's going to feel warming, it's going to feel cleansing, it's going to feel healing and purifying rather than burning. But this also is definitely touching in with this passion, creation kind of energy. So we'll have a look at what's coming through. No, I'll grab this one. Just going to get some oracle cards. Gave them a good shuffle beforehand with the fire energy, but such an interesting card to come through for a Earth Angel message, right, to you from the Earth Angels. Power. Look at that, fire and power. That is strong energy. This is really, really strong energy. Kind of reminds me of the last Avatar, is it? Yeah, like when they finish the Aang story and they go on to Korra. Is it Kira? It's Korra? I can't remember. Korra, I think. But anyway, it's when the firebenders started to point and start to transform their energy into something completely different, which was electricity, right? Which was not really seen. Obviously, that happened in the first season, the first kind of like Aang story as well. There was that crazy chick who could do that as well. But like, you know, as it progressed, lots of people could do it. So it was kind of like you're here because what she did, even though she went kind of wild with it, she kind of created something or did something that others weren't doing. It wasn't like seen as possible. She turned her firebending into electricity. I know I'm talking about a cartoon, so you might be getting annoyed by that, but like there's lessons in life in every kind of thing. So you're potentially here to create something or do something that hasn't been seen before. That's kind of very unique. And you might think, but you never know. It could be just like a slight mind check or shift in the mind or whatever. Like I saw someone with a cheese grater, one of those boxy ones where you usually put it this way and you grate like up and down, and they turned it to the side and grated that way. And I was like, oh my gosh, that works so much better. And like, while it wasn't anything wacky and wild and kind of like hugely transforming, right? It does make it so much easier to grate for me now. So I don't know, you know, it was just like something I didn't think about. And so it's very easy to go like, whoop. But when you don't think about it because you're so used to it, you don't try different things. It's like, I don't know, if you flipped a pencil the other way and tried writing that way, it probably wouldn't work right. But like just the idea of playing with those ideas of like, well, why don't I try things this way? Or maybe I should look at things this way, that kind of thing. Or maybe I should transform a huge amount of things in my workspace, or in my, maybe I could move my desk from here to here. Maybe that would make me feel better. Maybe I need to put my bed this way instead of that way. Maybe that would change something. You know what I mean? It's not like you're trying to change anything. It's whatever feels natural to you. But it feels like that progression of creating something new, or bringing something new into your space. So yeah, interesting energy coming through. It's funny how I got it from that, but that's how it goes. Yeah, inner child is really cool here. Could be something, you know, when children come through, they're very like questioning, right? They ask all the difficult questions when it's like, where do babies come from? We know where babies come from. We don't really want to explain the whole process, right, to a child. So you come up with a creative way, or like maybe even a white lie, so that it's easier to explain to someone. But the inner child is also very open, hasn't gone through the things that have caused the blocks, the borders, the structure. They've been laughed at for doing something or trying something, so they stop doing it, right? This is for you to get back into that mindset, that playful, energetic mindset. That's where like the holy fire is kind of coming through, that cleansing energy. It's like clearing away the debris of like learnings. They were there to protect you, but now they're hindering you. Might have been like you know, people laughing at you at school for, I don't know, speaking to ghosts or something, speaking to spirits, and you know, people saying you're making it up, you're lying, you know, whatever, and then you kind of block that part of you off. This is like time to reopen that. Just because other people can't feel it or see it or do it doesn't mean that you should minimize yourself, right? It's kind of like back in the day when people thought that the earth was the center of the universe, right, and everything is spinning around it. And then we find that the sun is kind of in our solar system, what we're spinning around that, while also spinning around the center of our galaxy, right? And then who knows what else is going on? But it's kind of like that mindset. Those people would have criticized, laughed, joked, or even got angry about it, but it was truth, and it was your truth, right? That person's truth, and turns out it was correct. So there's no problem with trialing and erroring, is how the inner child comes through. So definitely get in touch with that energy, or start to heal that in whatever way feels correct to you. Okay. Let it go. I've got letting go here. Kind of an interesting imagery one, where it feels like she's letting go, but she's also like lying to herself slightly about letting it all go. There's still some residue of pain, and I don't know what this is for or from. But it's almost like now we're touching it's almost like what took away your power is like still being taken away, or like I don't know. It's just kind of hard to explain for me in my head right now, but it's like, let's say someone was abusive, right? And you gave your power away to them to kind of like they controlled your life or something like this. This is a very dramatic kind of thing. And hopefully this hasn't happened, but this is just what's coming through. It's like someone's been abusive, you've given your power away to them, and then whatever you do is right or wrong depending on what they say. And then you've got out of that, thank goodness for that. And then there's still some kind of like pain or hurt here, which is fair, right? But this is like an opportunity to tap into the beauty of who you are and let go and move on. Whatever way that works for you. I can't tell you how to do that or when to do that. You'll know the right time and place. Because it's blocking your vibe and zest for life, like your life juices, like it's blocking it. Could be blocking your passion, could be blocking your like sensuality or sexuality, though it could be blocking a lot of stuff. Creativity, right? Doesn't have to be just any of that, but definitely does touch in with that fiery boom energy. Okay. Oh, this came out on par 1, so feel free to go check that out. It's a very different message, but if you feel drawn to it, why not? Also getting 11, right? We're getting the angel numbers coming through. Kind of interesting, 16 and 26 as well. But Rigby was like compassion for who you were. Might even want to do some meditations going back and healing inner child, right? Going back and loving that inner child. Just because the people around you may not have been like loving or supportive doesn't mean you can't go back and like have a chat to your past self and be like, I love you, right? Because that's self-love in a way. So really interesting with compassion coming through Rick Biel. But again, even here with all these like UFOs of what's possible, right? There was talks years ago when it was like, no, it's all made up and all that kind of thing. And then the government start releasing videos, and there's been lots of videos and stuff like that. And so people are starting to believe it now as like, oh, maybe it's not a hoax. But then still people are like, well, it doesn't mean aliens don't exist and all this kind of stuff, right? Maybe it's a government thing. And maybe it is. Like, does it mean we need to go debate it all? Probably not. It's nice to like think about these things, but there's no point arguing about something that no one has any foothold in reality on it, because it's just going to be a back and forth till the ends of time, right? So it's just very interesting, but being open to what's possible, especially when I said like that you're here to create something or do something that is like transform an idea or mind. Definitely here to do that. Don't feel like that's a pressure thing. That's just something that will come innately, and you might start doing it. Like I always get told off for how I hold a pencil growing up, right? I don't hold pens or pencils anymore because who writes, right? Basically these days. When back then it was like, this is such an important skill. Well, no, it ain't. Not anymore. But it probably was back then, I guess, for whatever reason. But a pen and pencil, and I would always be told off for how I held it, but it was just what was natural for me and it worked for me. Same with chopsticks. I remember someone who came along and I was using chopsticks and I could use them perfectly fine. I was picking everything up and it was not a problem. But it was like, no, that's not how you do it, right? And tried to teach me. I was like, no. One, I don't know you. And two, this isn't your restaurant or store. You're just some random sitting on a table. I'm fine, thank you, though. And it's like, you know, you're allowed to stand up for yourself as well. You don't need to like go, oh yeah, please show me. Just to be nice to them. They need to learn to like back off, right? Anyway, that was kind of just some funny situations. And maybe hopefully she learned not to like interrupt people she doesn't know and tell them how to do things, right? Because if I just let her and be like, oh, I don't want to upset her, I'll just let her show me and then go back to what I was doing, then she would have felt like, oh, this is my mission to like tell people what to do. And it's like, no, because you might do it to someone else, they might swear at you or punch you in the face. So probably better to recognize it now. All right. Yahudiel, the whipping whip, the whippy whipper. He holds like a whip. This one's made of stars, which is kind of cool. Also, you have this like little gecko, and or maybe it's not a gecko. It looks like some kind of lizard anyway. And we've got Easter Island in the background. This is like mystery. This is kind of cool because it does feel like you have something within you that's like very different, right? Very unique to you. And everyone has that, but like this is like recognizably different. Maybe you do things differently and think differently. Maybe you're left-handed. Like, it doesn't have to be anything like insane, but it's just like embrace it. Embrace your weirdness. I want to actually read your hoodie out before we continue. Leadership and endeavor. So it's saying here, I'm assisting you with your spiritual endeavor. You are a natural leader. Stay true to your integrity. It's so funny because I feel like some of you are like, I am no leader. Wow, soz, but you are. And it doesn't mean you have to like go, okay, now I need to form a group and find some followers. It's not that. You're a leader of like this innovative energy. I think when, depending on what star kind of like system you follow, but we're going in tropical anyway. At the moment, Pluto's in Capricorn, and it'll be there for a little while, and then it's going to go direct into Aquarius for the next few years. When I say few, oh, excuse me, I think it's like 12, 16, something like that. It's a long time anyway. And what it kind of tells me here is that you will be you're going to be able to move on from whatever the past held you back. The past isn't going to be seen as like something that told you who you were for the rest of your life. It's going to be like, I overcame that, I'm still me. I'm going to empower myself. And you're going to be like, I don't want to like inflate your ego or anything, but it's just like, you're going to be real good. Like, I think the Pluto going into Aquarius for you especially is going to be like really, really, really good. Going to feel powerful. And in the sense of not holding monetary power or like any kind of like hold over a group, it's like within yourself, you're going to feel empowered. So yeah, it's real cool. I like this. What a pile to pick. Truth. It is the truth. Yeah, uncovering your own secret garden or something like that. Like that's kind of how it's coming through in words. But even here with East Island, like, you know, uncovering new things, discovering new things, finding new ways to empower your life and empower other people. So this could be really cool. You might even be a leader, right? Eventually at some point. You might be that like hermit leader somehow and be like, how did this happen? It's like, yeah, it was kind of destined. You just didn't know it at the time, but as you've gone on, every little choice you've made as you got to here has led you to here, right? Led you to the future path. So yeah, very cool. Oh, and another 11. So you've got two 11s here. Truth and compassion. Sorry, not truth. Truth is up here. Compassion and memories. Yeah, the past is still here to like help you. Like I feel like if you need support in this, obviously talk to the family members, the therapist, the whoever is like in your corner. But with your Huriel being here and being like you're the leader of this, I feel like there's something here that you can let go of memory-wise, and you start to like shine a light on the past of who you were and like the energy of who you were. And it's not like to relive the past, but it's really to take that that zest for life and bring it into the actions and play that you have today. So it's not like it's gone. It's more like it's been locked in a corner, right? And put in a box, and so it's just hard to find and see it. But this rainbow light is kind of coming through to light up that part of you. The truth of who you are. Interesting. Look, you might even identify as a Earth Angel. Might be here to do that kind of stuff. I feel like some Earth Angels pick crazy lives, right? They pick ones where it's really hard and difficult, and they have really unsupported people, abusive people in their lives. Who knows why? And it's not my place to say whatever souls choose, but it's like got to a point where they now feel empowered by it rather than feeling disempowered, right? Feeling little or small. You're starting to move through it. So anyway, it doesn't really matter how you identify. You're here as a human. You're on Earth. You are a human. You're in a human body. But still, just wanted to say that. So very cool message coming through for you. I feel like this one. 8 of activations, reclaiming your power. That's exactly what I was feeling, right? This is to eventually lead to empowerment. I feel like you already are empowered, but you're moving further and further with it as you let things go slowly, quickly, whatever, you know, by having more compassion to yourself and others, being very open to what's possible in the world, and bring through your good, wacky little crazy self energy. I feel like I've been saying that a lot with some of these piles, like calling people wacky and crazy, or little weirdos. I mean that in the most loving sense possible, because there's enough people that are sheeps, right? There's enough sheeple. There's so many sheeple that, you know, I'm surprised paddocks haven't popped up everywhere. Like there's enough of that. We don't have to, or you don't have to, follow suit unless it feels right to you. Okay. Oh, this one too. Okay. Woo! Right, so you've got 44. Look at you. Yeah, maybe you are angelic. So you've got Sedona Vortex with the 9 of Portals. Very cool. This is dreams coming true, and you're like, oh my god, I didn't have to actually go out there and find the dream. I just needed to unleash it within myself. So it's kind of cool with that. And then we'll have a look at this last one. Africa, 69. So you've got the 6 of Earth Guardians. nice. Like, this is finding balance, right? I was just, I don't know, for some reason I was getting caught up in the cheetah and the antelope, like the push and pull and the play between that, right? You don't want to be an animal that dominates all the other animals so much that you wipe them all out. I mean, I'm saying that as a human, but like, you know, it's like we haven't wiped them all out because we've learned conservation, but you don't want to be like one that hasn't really thought and just wipes everything out, right? It's nature isn't going to do that anyway. Look at the T-Rex and the Triceratops, right? Those two were like pretty freaking wild. It would have been wild to see them, but like just, you know, rah, fight, stab, and either one could have ended up surviving or not. So it was kind of a wild time. But this is finding like a balance in your life too. This doesn't mean you have to like change who you are, be someone different. That's actually the opposite. You're here to be you. And the Six of Earth Guardians is finding balance within your own soul, within your own past, and within your own decisions making now, to bring in whatever you want to see in this world. And I like this reclaiming power because it's the Eight of Activations, which is the Eight of Swords, which can feel like a lack of power, right? Or feeling stuck. And by shining a light on your power, your truth, right? What's real within your world, even if other people can't see it or feel it or know it, that doesn't mean you follow into that little nice comfortable box. You're not here to be boxed in. You're here to be, I was going to say 69. You're here to be, you're here to find balance within self. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I really hope this has helped you. You've got a lot of cards coming through with like very balanced numbers, even though this is kind of like seen as a dirty number, right? It's still that like, it almost looks like the yin and yang. Anyway, I won't go there. But you've got 11, 11, and 44, so angels are definitely coming through to support you. So I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today, Power Through. Really beautiful message. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, whatever you feel is right for you. Otherwise, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading.